Missile Command from Atari arrived on the scene in 1980 and really captured the ever-present sense of impending nuclear doom that permeated pretty much everything back then. But unlike the movies where the differences of the Cold War could be solved with a boxing match, in Missile Command it was too late for that. Doom was already on its way and you just had to hold off the enemy missiles, smart bombs, and other armaments for as long as possible. In this Atari ST version of the game, you are the strategic defense commander of Zardon, and you have to defend the peaceful Zardonians from an incoming attack from the planet Krytolia, and all you have at your disposal are your anti-ballistic missiles. You get points for shooting enemy weapons, and bonus points at the end of each stage for how many cities you have left, and how many missiles remain unused. The Atari ST version is pretty good looking and colorful, and has a good amount of options available like being able to turn smart bombs off, or have the Krytolians only use smart bombs. You can change the scoring level needed to gain a bonus city, and you can also jump ahead to more difficult stages if you just want to skip the easier ones. The sound effects are pretty sedate for such an intense game, but they get the job done. They just lack the intense arcade quality that's kind of an important component in generating excitement in these classic arcade titles. The presentation is also missing the really dramatic ending screen when you run out of cities. That was an almost iconic image from the arcade, but here, when your game ends, you just go straight to the high score screen. But the gameplay is quite good. In the arcade version of Missile Command, you had 3 missile bases to use, but in many home translations like the Atari 2600 and 5200 ports, that number was reduced to 1. But in this ST version, you've got 2, and they're mapped to the left and right mouse buttons. This returns an element of strategy and timing to the game, as you have to account for the different distances from each missile base to where you want to shoot. And using a mouse to control your targeting cursor works really well, and gives you pretty precise control. It's not quite as good as a trackball, but if you happen to actually be using a trackball as a mouse, I bet that would be really awesome. Missile Command also features a monochrome mode, which is really sharp looking, but unfortunately you can't tell that here, as I'm just pointing my camera at the screen, and you get all that scrolling weirdness, so let's just stop looking at it now. But at least you know it exists. Like Robotron, Missile Command on the Atari ST feels like kind of a laid-back version of an arcade classic. The graphics are good but not eye-popping, the sounds are pretty calm and lack the explosive quality you might hope for, but it's still fun to play. Being able to use the mouse works really well, and having 2 missile bases is pretty great, and a nice upgrade over versions with a single base. All in all, the Atari ST provides a good platform for the Zardonians to use to defend their planet. So I don't want to hear any complaints from them when the Krytolians finally achieve victory. Don't blame your tools, Zardonians. Blame yourselves.